To fix all that astigmatism at one time was like a miracle. And I could look up at the top of Modjeska Peak and see a hawk flying in the air. I never saw a hawk flying in the air in my whole life. That was a miracle. It's the most exhilarating thing I ever did, and Dr. Salib did the job.
We are located in the Saddleback Memorial Medical Towers. See well, live well.
And welcome back. Dr. George Salib is here today, Orange County Eye Institute, and it's great to see you.
Thank you. Nice
You're going
be
to talk
here.
about two things today. You're going to touch on kind of a follow-up about what a cataract is and how to treat it. The main topic you want to talk about is astigmatism and a special lens they have for that. Right before we get into that, though, we just had a lot of high winds. And maybe you could briefly go over what kind of eye protection people should be having. You know, a lot of people I find interesting, even on hot sunny days, don't like wearing sunglasses. On cloudy days, I wear sunglasses. I just kind of need them. It's really important on these windy days, isn't it?
I completely agree. A lot of the times, especially when it's windy, things can be blowing in the wind. Little particles or sand or dust can fly into your eye. Not only that, the wind itself can be quite bothersome to the eye and can cause a lot of dryness of the eyes.
Yeah.
And so your eyes will start to water or tear, and you might feel like something's inside your eye. So it's important to wear either glasses or sunglasses just to protect your eyes. And sunglasses in general are very important for protection of the eye from UV light.
Okay, now for me, I have two different kinds of pairs of sunglasses. And particularly on windy days, I wear the one that's a little bit more wraparound than just a standard one, because I've been told that that's going to help a little bit anyway.
Sure. It blocks out some of the side winds in a way. So the more protection, the better.
All right, and that's the key, protect your eyes. All right, let's talk a little bit about cataracts and what exactly one is. Here's a nice picture of one, or maybe not a nice picture, but a good example, we should say.
Right.
And I had asked you right before we came on, I mentioned a show that I watch, and it's a reality show, but one of the people on it seems that they're an older gentleman, seems to have a cataract, because I say, well, he's got kind of that whiteness in the eye, kind of like what you see here.
Yeah, it's quite possible he has that. I don't watch that show, but that one cause is possibly clouding of the cornea, which is called arcus, which comes with age. And another one is a cataract. And a cataract is basically a clouding of the natural lens of our eye. So just like a camera, our eye has a focusing mechanism, and that's a lens. And as we age, that lens has proteins in it that start to clump and start to cause clouding of that lens. So it just becomes harder to see in general. For instance, light might be more bothersome. It might be more difficult to drive at night or whenever there's direct sunlight in your face. It might be harder to see the fine print. Your glasses just might not seem right. So as we age, the cataract really starts to affect us. In fact, by the time we're in our 70s, about half of us have visually significant cataracts, and by the time we're in our 80s, about 70% of us do. So the good thing is, though, we have a treatment for that, and that's a cataract surgery. And it's now evolved into a very advanced surgery where we can do it on an outpatient basis, usually under half an hour, and we remove the cataract, and then we replace that cloudy lens with a new intraocular lens, or IOL, so that you can see, which is really a new advancement, because in the past we didn't have that option. We weren't able to put a new lens in your eye.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yes.
Well, speaking of lenses, we're going to talk about astigmatism, what it is, and there is a new type of lens for it. Trulig, did I pronounce it? I probably didn't pronounce it right, but I'll let you go ahead and pronounce it. But this is something fairly new, am I right?
Yeah, the TrueLine lens, or TrueLine IOL, is a new kind of lifestyle lens, in a way, that's just been approved back in May of this year. And it's the first lens of this type in the United States where it combines two separate functions. One is allowing you to have a broader range of vision, and that's called accommodation. and the other one is to correct for astigmatism. So in the past, we only had one or the other in this country. Accommodation is when the lens has flexible hinges and it allows you to go backwards and forwards, allows the lens to go backwards and forwards, allowing you to have a broader range of vision. So this lens, called the TrueLine lens, is just like a lens called the Crystal lens, which is very commonly known now. And the Crystal lens allows you to have that broader range of vision. But now this TrueLine is kind of like the Crystal lens on steroids, because it allows you to combine that function of the broader range of vision along with astigmatism correction, which makes things just overall very sharp.
I think we have a picture. I think it's either slide 2 or 3, if you could bring that up. But it does look like the here it is. Thank you. Yeah. The Crystal lens. I mean, if that name was not there and I looked at it, is it made by the same people?
It is made by the same people, exactly. But the difference is you see a little dot right at the center where the circular portion and the rectangular portion is, and that dot signifies where we line up that lens along the axis of the inside the eye in order to correct for astigmatism. So that's where we can sharpen your vision by dialing it into a certain way, and then it has that same functionality of the Crystal lens by going backwards and forwards. And most people who have this lens are extremely happy with it, and they can see very well and sharply. And in fact can see some of the even smaller print at intermediate distances.
Wow.
So this lens really allows you to minimize your dependence on glasses by allowing you to see far and intermediate distances, and also corrects for astigmatism, making things sharper.
Interesting. Now, just if you could remind us, what is the difference between this and the Crystal lens? What is the Crystal lens used for?
So the Crystal lens is just like this without the astigmatism correction. So this looks exactly like the Crystal lens except for those 2 dots in the center. The Crystal lens basically has these flexible hinges right at the where the circular part and the rectangular part join, and that allows the lens to kind of flex backwards and forwards in a process called accommodation. And that allows you to see far and intermediate and even some near vision quite well. The TrueLine lens is the Crystal lens, but with astigmatism correction added into it as an extra feature.
All right.
So it's basically the Crystal lens with an added feature, which is the astigmatism correction, and now it's called the TrueLine.
Interesting. Okay, and the slide, the other side we're looking at, it sort of explains what astigmatism is, and it was a slide where somebody's looking at a
spoon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is an interesting image because astigmatism, everyone thinks it's a horrible disease or something, but all astigmatism means is that your cornea, which is the clear dome in front of your eye where you would put a contact lens, it's not perfectly round. So instead of being perfectly round, one axis is steeper than the other axis, so it's more like a football shape. So if you were to look at your image in a spoon and you could see it's kind of oblong and just distorted, that's what astigmatism does. It kind of distorts and blurs the image. So if you could have a lens that can correct for that, you'll have sharper vision.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
And how would you determine if somebody would need this? Is it for both eyes? Is it common? I know I have astigmatism in my left eye. I think it's a very minor degree. So could you do this with both eyes or one?
Oh, you certainly can. Actually, most people do have some astigmatism. It'd be quite unusual for someone not to have some astigmatism. So we always look for ways to correct for astigmatism either through a lens or with a laser or with surgery. So there's different ways we can correct for astigmatism, and if you can have it built into the lens, it adds an extra level of accuracy.
Okay. Is it something that the shape of the cornea changes over time, or can somebody be a very small child have that and born with it?
People can be born with it, that's true. But most people have some degree of astigmatism, and yes, it can change with time. In fact, as we age, our cornea does change, and the axis of astigmatism usually starts to shift as we age. So yes, it is a changing process, and that's why we have to refract you and check your measurements every year to see how you're doing and adjust your glasses or your surgery accordingly.
All right, you brought along another picture that if we can bring up another slide, and it's this machine here. You've shown us this before. for cataract surgery, laser cataract surgery, but I know it's state of the art. And you haven't had this all that long, have you?
No, this is a laser cataract machine, basically called the LensX. And this is a newer development in cataract surgery. Not many surgeons are able or doing this. And it allows for a greater degree of control and precision, because on that monitor, you actually have an image of the eye in real time. It's kind of like having an MRI of the eye while operating on it at the same time. So combine that with the precision of a laser, you have a much more defined and precise surgery. And on top of that, with the laser, we can correct for and fine-tune a little bit of the astigmatism on your cornea as well.
Oh, really?
So if you combine that with the TrueLine or the Crystal lens, you have an even added, a more added benefit of more, it's basically more precise, because you're able to decrease the astigmatism even further and further fine-tune their vision.
When you are performing the surgery, where are you standing? Are you at this machine here?
I
see a little joystick there, and that's controlling the laser as well?
Yeah, what that does is it controls the docking mechanism on the eye. So I'm standing at that joystick, and I'll dock it onto the eye, and then it takes measurements of the eyes, and we're able to delineate exactly how big of an incision we want. We're allowed to delineate how we break up the cataract in order to use less energy to break up the cataract when we're taking it out. And that translates into just a more precise surgery and faster healing times, because now we're able to use less energy overall to remove the cataract. So the laser has really added a dimension of just precision and safety to this overall procedure.
Is the patient feeling anything during this time?
Usually not. They're usually they have some nice eye drops in their eyes to numb their eyes. They've usually been given something to relax, and they might feel a little bit of pressure, but usually not. Most people don't report seeing anything or feeling anything, and they'll say, "Oh, that was it."
Wow, the advancements are absolutely amazing.
Yes,
and I know
agree.
As long as you've been coming on here, it seems like every year there are just major advancements coming in to just the whole world of eye care, and it's good to see.
Yeah, it's an exciting time in surgery and cataract surgery, and this new lens with an added feature of astigmatism correction and a broader range of vision, it's not something that everyone is implanting now, and I'm very proud to be able to do that.
All right, well, thank you for coming on and bringing the slides along. And if you're interested, you can contact the Orange County Eye Institute. There it is, right there. 380 Eyes or 380-3937 online. It's ociinstitute.com. Dr. Salib, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Nice to see you again.
Nice seeing you too.
We'll be back in just a moment.
Dr. Salib did the lens replacement in my right eye. Since seeing Dr. Salib and having this procedure, I can now see my children's faces, my grandchildren's faces, and the clothes they're wearing much more clearly. I wasn't sure what to expect, but I see perfectly now.
We help our patients maximize their vision and live their lives to the fullest.
The Orange County Eye Institute is a comprehensive eye care center. We are specialists in cataract surgery, laser vision correction, dry eyes, glaucoma, and multifocal lens implants. See well, live well.